Today we're going to find the greatest common factor of a certain numbers. So what's the greatest common factor of 15 and 35? So to find it, we need to find the factor of 15 and 35. And we're going to look for their greatest common factor, which is going to be 5. So they have the same multiple, so that's 5. Now let's try to find the greatest common factor of 21 and 28. So let's factor out 28. So 21 is 7 times 3 and 28 is 7 times 4. So the common factor here is 7 and it is the greatest because the other factor of 21 is 21 times 1. So now let's try 22 and 55. So 22 we can break it down into 11 and 2 and 55 can be broken down in 11 and 50 and 5. So this is the greatest common factor, which is 11. Now let's try 12 and 16. So the greatest common factor for 12 is 4 and 3. We get 4 and 4. We can still break it down to 8 times 2 and 6 times 2, but it's the least common factor. The greatest is 4. Now let's try 15 and 18. So I got 3 times 5 here, and we have 6 times 3. So we're just going to pick 3. Now let's try 24 and 50. So 24, we can break it down into 6 times 4. In 50, we can just break it down into 2, like 25 and 2. We still have 5 and 10 though. So we got 8 and 3 and 24. So we still haven't find a common factor here. Now we find 1, 12 and 2, which has a common factor of 2. So is it the greatest? I think yes. So the greatest common factor of 24 and 50 is basically 2. Now let's try this. 12xy and 15x squared and y cubed. So how do we find the greatest common factor if we do have a variable? Oops. Let me see this. This will be y cubed. Okay. So how do we find this? So let's find the number of the coefficient first, the factor of coefficient. So got 12 and 15. We can 7 and 2. We can 5 and 3. We also can 6 and 2 or 4 and 3. So the greatest common factor is 3. And we're just gonna fix x and y on the left side. Now let's try this one. 24x squared y cubed and 30x cubed and y raised to the 4th power. What just happened there? So 24x squared and y cubed. We also have 30x cubed and y raised to the 4th power. So let's find the greatest common factor of the coefficient first. So we got 24 and 30. 24 can be 6 and 4 and 8 and 3. So 30, it can be 15 and 2 or 6 and no, not 10 but 5. Oops. We can write 30 as 6 and 5. And we have 10 and 3. So looking at the greatest common factor here, we can just have it in 15 and 2 too. And we have 12 and 2, but we're not going to pick 2 because it is the least common factor. So we got 6 as our greatest common factor here. So we got 6 and we have x squared and y cubed. We cannot write x cubed because it is much greater than x squared. We're going to find the least one. Now let's try 12, 18 and 20. So to find the greatest common factor here, we just need to break it down into 2. So as we can see here, we cannot furthermore simplify this. So we get 2 as our greatest common factor. We can just write this 12 of 1. So we have 2. Now let's try this one. 30, 48 and 56. So all three of them should have a common factors. So we can find the greatest one. So we got 15 and 2, we got 21 and 2, we got, what's the number here? That's going to be 28 and 2. I can't find anything. It's just 28 and 2. We can have 30 and 1 here. We can also have 8 and 6. I was doing math all day. I'm just really tired. Sorry for my numbers. So as we can see, we cannot have furthermore. We just have 2.